Howdy everybody, it's Amy from Amy Sparkly Diamond Painting, and I have part 2 of my junk journal video here to share with you today. Now it turns out this is going to have to be 3 parts in the end because I had over 3.5 hours of footage I had recorded as I decorated the inside and created the pages. So this part 2 will be adding the pages inside the junk journals, and then starting of the decorating, I set up the first 4 months, January through April. And then I stopped at the end of that part, and the rest will show up in part 3. So again, I'm doing a giveaway for this journal as I'm heading toward 3,000 subscribers. Thank you everybody. Appreciate all the support. So I hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned for more. Alright everybody, I did a time lapse of the second journal, did it just like the first, so now we have 2 here. I did do one extra thing off camera. I went ahead and put one more strip of washi tape on the outside. I thought it looked a little neater on the edges here, a little more finished. I did use double-sided adhesive as the underneath adhesive to keep the washi tape stuck down. So I used the same color and everything. I just thought it looked a little bit better and a little bit more finished on the outside. So we have 2 covers. Now we need pages inside. And I'm going to make these kind of small journals. We got a little bit of room there for some pages. I'm going to do this as one signature or one grouping of pages. Now if I were to do one for a single month, you'd want at least 31 pages in there. Well, if you take a page and fold it in half, what you end up with is 4 sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 times 4 is 32. 8 pages in a signature would be enough for one for each day of the month. However, I want a little bit more leeway and a little bit more decoration, so I think I'm going to shoot for 10 to 11 pages for each of these. So I need to pick out some papers to put on the inside. And this time, instead of the more traditional junk journal with a lot of papers that are decorated that you couldn't really write on, I'm going to be thinking more in terms of stuff that you can write on. So these are going to look a little bit different on the inside than a typical junk journal. So I have some papers here that I've already collected. A lot of these are from my collection, various parchment papers, hand-dyed papers that I dyed with tea, or this one actually I dyed with flowers. You can kind of see the leaves there that I heated in the oven. And I also have some printables, and I like to use printables a lot for easy journaling. So I have a set here, and I have the company here. This is from Etsy. It's called My Porch Prints. I use them a lot. And this set is called Junk Journal Filler Papers Horizontal. So it's a $2.99 PDF that you can download and print as much as you want. So I printed some of them double-sided. What happened here is I printed on some scrapbook paper. So I cut the scrapbook paper to 8.5 by 11 and then printed on the back side, so that way it was double-sided. Some of these are single-sided, some of them are printed on both sides, and some of them have the scrapbook paper on the back side. So I'm going to go through and pick about 10 pages of the various papers that I have here for each of these journals. So let's see here if we can do this in a random way. So that looks pretty good for one. I'll just kind of go back and forth one to the other, and these, because they were printed, they have a little bit edge there, but I'm going to cut that down. So this page should probably go that direction. Let's see, there's another one of those. That's more for decoration, I think. Same with that. I'll save those for another time. Yeah. These are more like you can cut out and make tags and stuff with those, so I think I'll save those. Let's see. That one's kind of white on the back side. If we're going vintage, we don't necessarily want the white. Here we go. We'll do that one. And then That's 2. All right, we're getting there. Yeah, I'll go ahead and use that one. 3, 3, 4, 4. I'm going to use 5, I think, for each one of the printed. 5, 5, and then 5 that are more plain. Let's see. Nope, that one's not plain enough. By plain, I mean white on the other side. So that's 6 there. And 7, 7. I'm not putting them in order yet. 8, 8. I'm just picking them out. 9, 9, 10, 10. Okay, that's 10. I may throw in one more just for good measure. I really like these butterflies. I'll do that one. Okay, that's 11 sheets for each one. Ooh, and I need one more paper. I like the texture of vellum, so we will sneak a sheet of vellum in each one. I just think vellum is fun. Don't know what that was. Okay, so that's 11 sheets for each one, somewhat randomly selected. And now I'm going to take them and fold them in half and trim them. So that way we can cut them down so they fit inside the journal. So first step is fold them all in half, and it's best to do it individually so that you can do it nice and neat. And you could use the scoring tool, but you really don't need to. There's one. And I can decide, do I want butterflies inside or outside? This will probably be the center paper, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and already put that in the center. So there's 2. This one's already been folded. And this one has a slightly messed up edge here, but I'm going to trim it down, so I don't think that's really going to matter. So we'll trim that. 3. Let's go. Okay, so now I'm going to look through it and rearrange it. So sometimes you just got to play around and rearrange. Let's see. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think I need something between these two. We'll do something with this side. Okay. So now we can tell that these are too big. Oops. Too big to fit inside of there, so I'm going to trim these down. And the easiest way is to stack them all so they all kind of match at the bottom and clip them. And I have some clips that I've probably buried. All right, sorry about that. My clips seem to have disappeared off the face of the earth, but that's okay. I have these clips. These are typically used for quilting. I got these on Amazon. They're just little clips. They're good for holding fabric together, holding zippers when you're sewing them in, all sorts of things like that. But what we're going to do is trim our paper, but we're only going to do it a few sheets at a time, because if you try to put that through the trimmer, chances are it's going to get all uneven and crooked and all that. So I'm going to take 3 sheets here, make sure they're good and folded, and I'm going to clip the top and the bottom. These hold really tight. So that's just to make sure that the paper is even. And I'm going to actually open up my trimmer. That would probably help. And I'm going to move this one out of the way. So putting them on the top and the bottom isn't the best when you're trying to use a paper cutter because you can't place it on the edge then. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball it for now with this first set. And this is thick, so 3 pages doubled makes 6. So I'm cutting off a little over 1 centimeter probably there. And then I'm going to do the same on the top and the bottom. So probably about that same amount. That maybe is a little bit less. But the first set you get to eyeball, and then the rest after that you use these as a measuring tool. So maybe just a little bit more there. Yeah. So let's see. Take the clips off now. How well these pages will fit inside this journal. So yes, plenty of room there, top, bottom, and sides, which is what I was hoping for. And if you look through, you'll see I cut off all those white edges by going that far in. So now I have a template here that I can use to cut the rest. So I'll grab a few more pages here. Okay. Okay, now as you can see, the pages kind of go inward there, which means they go outward a little bit here on the edge. That was why I knew I could do one last trim and neaten them all up here. But in reality, for this style of journal, yeah, this paper cutter isn't going to be able to do that. It's just not heavy duty enough for that. Based on the particular style of journal, it probably doesn't really matter if they stick out a little bit. But if that does bug you, you can also use like an X-Acto knife and a ruler, because this is pretty thick. So it's not going to be exact, but we will at least get a little bit closer and get that off-white paper to not show quite as much there around the edges. And trim a little bit off the top. And if I wanted to be more exact, I'd also probably clip them to hold them in place, but this is good enough for me. So now we can test how this is going to look. So we can put this in here and take a look. So that's a good cover page, although this looks upside down, so I'm going to flip it, since that pattern there with the little flowers didn't really matter which way was up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know what I'm going to do with this one? This. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, and then that one in the center. 12. I like it. Okay, so there's our paper stack. The last step now is to sew our papers into the book. Now we could do this a couple of ways. I think I'm gonna do it just the most basic way. The other way I was thinking was where I did it like I did the other diamond painting journal, where this page becomes an envelope where I trim this size and create a fold over, and that envelope hides our seam in the middle. But I want both sides of this paper. I like both sides of it. So I'm not going to turn this into an envelope. So what I'm going to do now is sew these papers in. And this is where the clips are going to come in again, because we need to hold all these pages together so they don't wiggle around. So I'm going to put clips on all four sides here and try to stack the pages up neatly. Well, I say four sides, but really it's more like 6. Make sure it folds well, closes well, all that good stuff. Okay, so we have our group of pages. We have our book with our little bitty spine here, and we need to do a basic stitch. It's only 3 holes here. And I just don't like how this edge of the paper looks here. That just didn't get trimmed very well. So I'm going to fix that before we sew. There we go. And it looks like that page just got crooked as I cut it, because I did it on the other side too. So I'll trim that end. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay. So what we are going to do is use a couple really basic tools here to sew the pages into our book using just a 3-hole stitch. So to do that, we need to poke holes. We need our wax thread. This is in the beading section usually. Beading section of a craft store. So this is just waxed thread. You can also use embroidery thread, just use all 6 strands. And then I've got some really sharp needles here that are nice and long. So that's all we need to make the book. So I'm going to put this here in the middle with the pages in, and I'm going to poke 3 holes through the pages into the spine of it. So the first hole will eyeball about the middle. Doesn't have to be exact. And I'm just going to poke a hole all the way through. And then I'm going to go about 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the bottom and do the same and poke a hole. And then 1 inch to 1.5 inches from the top and do the same. So there we got 3 holes that are evenly spaced in the spine and through our pages. Very easy. And now I'm going to take, we'll just use this gray thread. I'm going to take a nice long piece of string and one of my needles here. These came from a bookbinding kit on Amazon. Oh, my hands are so dirty from doing this. The glue plus the ink and everything just makes your hands filthy. That needle is probably a bit too thick. Let's use one of these others. That'll work. You want an eye on the needle big enough though to thread this thick thread. Hopefully that should work. Okay. So we don't need to thread it very much. Okay, now the fun stitch that you do is really simple. You start in the middle of the book and go down through the center. And you leave, about 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches, just enough to tie off there. And then you go down through the center. And you pull, but not too tight. You just want to still have that thread there. Then you can choose top or bottom, but you go back across, find that hole there. I'm gonna poke that hole just a little bit better because it's hard. It got right on the edge there, the spine, which I don't like, so it's just being all wiggly, isn't it? I'm gonna re-poke it so that it goes more toward the middle of that spine. Okay, so then we come up back into the middle from the back and pull. Now we're going to leave this here and go all the way across to that upper hole. And go outward like that. And then we're going to come back in through this middle hole like that. And when we do, we're going to put this middle thread there kind of between those two ends, like so. And take the needle off. So we went out through the middle, up through the top and in, all the way across, back out, and then back into the middle. Very basic stitch. And then you pull it tight. You want to make sure it's pretty tight. And you tie a couple knots. And the knots, because the threads are on either side of that middle string, that holds the knots. Like so. And then you can cut. And that's it. Now we take our clips off. And see what we got. And I probably should have mentioned you make sure your pages are right side up. So, looks like I need to secure that edge a little bit more. So we have a nice little string edge on the outside. We got it tied on the inside. And we have all our pages sewn in here. So we have a nice little journal. This is kind of why I like to turn this middle into an envelope, because it does kind of fly open here and it does show that. So I might go ahead and do that anyway. I'll just show you how it's done because it's so easy here. So if you want to turn that middle page into an envelope to hide that thread, all you do is take this left side here and chop about 1 inch off. So I'll do it with the cutter to make it nice and even here. It's hard to kind of line it up there. That's nowhere close to lined up. A little bit more. Okay. So I cut off about that much. And now I can fold this one over like so, and that makes the flap of an envelope. And if you wanted, you can trim a corner off both sides so it shows more like it's an envelope there. And then you can run glue here on each side of this paper. So just across that side and that side. And if you wanted, you could put a little glue at the knot as well. Fold it over, glue it down. And you have a little envelope there in the middle, and your thread is hidden. Okay, so that's the pages sewn into one of them. I'm going to do the same with the other, and we'll be back in a little bit. Hey everybody, I'm back. I have 2 journals now with all the papers in there. I'm going to try to continue with this next stage without too much editing, but there will probably be editing. I've tried to put all my supplies within reach, but I have a feeling that there are some things I'm going to need that I'm not going to be able to find. So it's a couple days later now. We have 2 journals with all the insides, and I've thought about what I want to do with these for the decorating. And that's the next step, is filling the insides with all the folders, ephemera, and all the goodies to turn these from plain papers into some sort of planner. So what I thought I'd do, I thought about it long and hard, and I counted the papers, and instead of turning these into a 1-month planner, because I want to give these away at the end of this video, I thought about turning these into a yearly overview type planner so that they would last a little bit longer. So what I did is I went through and I counted all the pages, and I came up with 3 pages per month. So that would be 3 sides. So if we use the first page for other things and decoration, then there are enough pages in here that January can be this one, and this one. And then February would start here, and we'd go through and we'd hit the end of June right here before the vellum, and then have the folder, and then the other 6 months could be here. So I thought about doing more of a diamond painting subject matter, although you'll see in a minute that it could easily be converted to cross stitch, because I'm going to do project cards that move around, so that as you work through the year, the projects that you finish, you can leave in that month, or if you didn't finish, you can move that page forward in time until you finish it, with all the pockets and things in there. So hopefully this will make a little sense as I go along. And let's just jump into what my plan is and what I found to make this happen. So I'm going to actually work on this one. This one I just favor a little bit more because of the cactusy theme. So I'm going to just work on one of them for this video and assume that the other one is done pretty much the same. So one thing I needed to do, I needed to go back to the store and look for a way to put months in here. Now I could have gone to Etsy and done printables. That is definitely one solution. But I did wander around Walmart, and I found these planner stickers over in their planner section that had all the months as stickers, and I thought that would be a little bit quicker and easier for a video. So this is the type of planner where these came from. All you need is stickers from Walmart, and I'm just using this page of it right now. I also did go looking for some printables, because only 3 pages isn't a whole lot per month. They're not meant to hold everything, but I did print out some of these little mini calendar cards. I printed them on the back of scrapbook paper so that they'd have pretty little designs on them. But we have a square version of a monthly deal here, where you can put the month and the year and the dates as you want, so you can choose when you use this. A lot of the pre-printed calendars are made for 2024, 2025, and you may not want that. So I'm going to show you where I got these from. And then within that same set, there was like a day-by-day thing where you mark which month it is, and on each day you have a little mark. So I thought about putting these in a pocket for each little monthly section. Now where those came from, I'll show you what the full page looks like. It also had things for today and the week and times for a single day, but within a small yearly planner like that, you probably wouldn't want all those pages with the week by week deal. But I do like not having the dates on there, so I couldn't find my regular sticky notes, so I wrote on these transparent ones here. This printout comes from Vectoria Designs, Vectoria Designs. I'll put the link down in the comments. She's one of my favorites for printables and how-to videos and all that, so I shop from Victoria Designs quite a bit. This is called Journal Cards Calendar, and it was $5 for the printable, but you can print as many as you want, and as you can see, I printed them on the back of scrapbook paper to give them a design. So I have a bunch of those printed out. You basically would need 12 for a yearly calendar. And then I found this other planner, and I printed out some of these sheets as well. This one is from R-Fire Designs, R-F-Y-R-E Designs on Etsy, and this is Vintage Ephemera Planner Kit for $5.99. And I only printed a few of the different sheets that were available, so I'll show you those in more detail if we use some of them. But they have month-by-month cutouts here. There's some project trackers, password trackers, goal trackers, as well as a month-by-month little summary page that I thought was kind of cool. So those are what I found for printouts. And then specific to diamond painting, I found, let me get rid of that sticker note. I found a diamond painting log printable on Etsy, and this is from the store. Here, I'll put it here so I can see it. This is from Dragonflow Designs, and this is called Diamond Painting Log Printable. I forgot to put the price on that one, but I think it was like only a few dollars. But these are specific to diamond painting. I printed a couple here on parchment paper for wish lists, and the project sheets. And each one of these sheets is set up to put information for a specific diamond painting project and log the event if it's associated with an event and all that. And I printed these on the back of some scrapbook paper that's just slightly thicker. This was actually on clearance in a package from Hobby Lobby where you don't know what you're getting in that package, but they're really, really cheap. They're the leftovers from their individual sheets that you can buy there for scrapbooking. And I had this package that was very floral. So I thought that with all the vintage stuff, there wasn't very much color in there. So right now I've only printed 6 of them just for show. But I cut these papers down to 8.5 by 11, and I printed some of these project sheets. And my thought is that these could be cut out, and they're decorative on the back. And instead of glued to a sheet, you start with empty ones here in the front folder or somewhere in here. And then they move along with you each month through here until you finish that diamond painting, and then you can park it on whatever month you finished it. So we'd probably need several of these if you're a prolific diamond painter, or you could print your own. They are printable, so as many as you want, but that is my thought for how to turn this into a diamond painting calendar book for the whole year. So our next step is to decorate these. So I'm going to leave the first page alone for now, and I'm going to just get the basics in there, which is the folders and maybe a couple envelopes, the pockets, things like that, and then we can go back and continue to add more and more. Now, as far as decorating goes, I have a ton of supplies, and I don't think this will fit under the camera. Yes, it will. A bunch of these I bought on Temu, and these come in little packets. You can do a search for junk journal or scrapbooking ephemera, and you can buy all these little sets and kits with all sorts of stickers and papers and neat things like that. Well, I've tried to pull out just a subset so that this doesn't get too crazy. So I do have this little set that's called Deco Paper here of just some floral vintage little papers that I think would be fun to work with here. So all different little subjects. There's some butterflies and stuff. So these are usually run a couple bucks for an entire package on Temu. But you can also find a lot of these same supplies on Amazon. I'll just keep those out. And then I got these packs. I found this on Amazon as a set of 6 different packages, just like this, but different colors. And these are just little fancy textured papers that I thought would be fun to include. So we have some of those. And then I have this little box of stickers that came with a journaling kit, little bitty things. But those, because this is a smaller journal, those will be fun to decorate with. And then this was another sticker kit that I got in just the other day from Amazon that just has all sorts of little stickers and tags and things in here to choose from. And I can put the link to that below. I really like the lace and frame stuff as well. So I'm trying to limit myself here to just these particular items. Otherwise, I could be here all day searching through stuff. So I'm just going to keep those off to the side. And the last supplies, I guess, for decorating, or almost last, I do have all the scraps that I cut off from those 12 by 12 sheets. These are going to turn into the pockets. So I never waste decorative paper. I always find a use for them. So we're going to use that stack to make the pockets. And then finally, I do need some little thicker stuff for tags. So I find these all the time at Walmart and other places. I think Hobby Lobby has these as well. These are just scrap packs. So these are cardstock typically, different colors and shapes, and they're just real easy to take and use to make tags from. As far as supplies go, couple of important ones, and you've seen some of them in the first part of this video. We have our corner rounder. That's very handy. But I also have this, and it's been used quite well through the years. This is a tag punch. So it punches out the top of any rectangle to look like a tag, and it does 3 different sizes here that you just slide in there and center it, and you can punch out different tags. So that's my cheating method for making tags. I also have some distress spray here. This color is kind of a light color, even though it looks pretty dark before it's sprayed. That can do some decorative stuff. I have my applicator to use for my distress ink, and I have the purple as well as the photo one that I showed already in the video. So we'll use, there it is, try to get it where I need it. So we'll use the distress ink to color edges and do other things. I also like to stencil the edges of pages, and it's good to really use only 1 or 2 stencils throughout a journal to keep the theme kind of the same throughout. So 1 or 2 colors of distress ink and maybe just 1 stencil will be enough, actually. You don't need to go crazy with them, because then it becomes a lot more random. Whereas if you keep just kind of 1 stencil and just a couple colors, the theme kind of matches throughout, and it just flows a little bit better. And of course, the usual glue, washi tape, stuff like that. And maybe a couple envelopes. I do have some craft envelopes piled over here as well. I thought about putting like 1 per month, but that's really thick. This is 24, so imagine 12 being half of that, so that would fill up the book too much. So we'll just put a few envelopes throughout to hold things. Okay, so how would I go about this? Well, the first thing I think is to section off the months. So if we leave this first page, that means that this will be January. So I could use these little ones. I think I'll use the full length ones. And I will put just a sticker, and actually feeling that some of this paper, because it's been coffee stained and all that, it doesn't hold the sticker glue very well, so it's always good to reinforce with real glue. So this is my Fabri-Tac glue that I love so much, and I am going to go ahead and just put a line of glue on the back of the sticker just to make sure it stays, because some of the thicker or cheaper, budget-friendly, I should say budget-friendly, some of the more budget-friendly stickers just don't have enough stick on there. So I'm just gonna put January. I'm gonna be kind of simple with this one. I'm not an artist, I'm a crafter, but I'm not a good artist. I'm not a designer. So I'm not going to get too fancy with these because I might make a mess, but feel free if you are more into art and design and can do page layouts, feel free to go to town with this. So there's page 1, 2, 3. So then February, we'll start up here. So this part is pretty straightforward. And again, I better use the glue. That little added step will just make this last so much longer and cause you less trouble if you want to truly use it. Because a journal is something you carry with you, I think, a lot. So 1, 2, 3. So then this page would be March. And I'm not going to do all 12 of these here on camera because I think after just a few, you'll get the idea. So that'll just give us a good start here. I'll do one more. I'll do April as well. So I'm just putting them top left if they're on this side of the page, top right if they're here, just for a little consistency. So that's 1, 2, 3, and one more. We'll stick April right here. Double check 1, 2, 3. Yes. So April goes here. So that's 4 months. Let's see how far that'll get us. Okay, so next I want a pocket for each month. And I probably don't want the pocket on the first page. I think I want it maybe on the last page of each one. That seems like that would be a good place to put a pocket. Or maybe the middle page. I don't know. So if I'm flipping through, I think the middle page will be better. So we'll put the pocket on page number 2 of each month. You could vary it. You don't have to do it the same for every month. But what I'm going to use for a pocket, we have a couple choices. It depends on how full we want to fill our pocket. I'm going to get my paper cutter handy here, or I could use scissors if I wanted to. So this scrapbook paper it's a little bit thicker than regular paper. It's probably about, it's not 20 pound. It's a little bit thicker, but it's not that thick. It's not like cardstock thick. And these printable decorative papers, they're pretty thin. So I don't want to use those. It just depends on how thick you want to go. So the cardstock in these scrap packs is usually the thickest. So I'll go ahead and break into this and see what we have here. Just grab a handful. So this is thin cardstock. It's a little bit thicker than scrapbook paper. And we have lots of different colors, but really the colors don't matter because we can decorate them with our scraps. Let me grab one more handful here. Sorry about the noise. Ooh, these are pretty. These are nice and thick as well. So we could test these actually and use some of those already cut or cut some of the thinner stuff. I think for January, because this is a thin piece of paper and it's near the front, I'm going to go ahead and use one of the thicker ones for the pocket. Now we could do pockets various ways. We could do all the way across a page, or we could do a corner pocket. And I'm also going to show you something called a belly band, which I think is cool. I think for this first one, let's see here. That one we could leave it the color that it is. Maybe this direction. Pockets that are at an angle, the stuff can sometimes spill. So if you put it this way, it'll spill toward the middle of the book and not fall out. But if you put your corner pocket where the pocket points outward, then your stuff can fall out. So I would probably cut it. Let's do that. We'll just take something kind of plain for now because we can always decorate it with stickers. And I'm just eyeballing. I'm not picking. I'm going from one corner across And there we have a corner cut. Now I could save this because, as you can see here, it already looks like another pocket, so we'll save that one. So I can glue or tape. I find with pockets, glue is better because although the tape isn't as messy, it is still sticky. So you could stick papers in there and they could touch the tape and end up getting stuck or get a sticky residue on them. So I'm just going to take this pocket and I am going to put just a thin bead right on the edge, just a little bit. And that's another reason I like this glue, because you can go very thin. Another common glue used for junk journaling is called art glitter glue. It doesn't have glitter on it, but it has a really nice thin applicator. And people love that one. I don't have any because I never find it around here. I could buy it online, but then you have to pay shipping for a glue bottle. That's quite a bit sometimes. Okay, there we go. So I put it kind of close to the edge to leave a little more room up this way, and I just push it down and let it dry a bit, and we have a pocket for January. And it does indeed need to dry a little bit. So then we have February, and this page is already kind of busy, so that's a good one to actually have a pocket on, because you can't really write on it as much unless you put other ways you can make it writable. But if January right now, it doesn't really have a color scheme, it's kind of brownish, we could do maybe a different color that sort of matches this for each month. So green would make a fair amount of sense, and we do have this, and I think it looks pretty nice there. I'm gonna do a pocket this style, but I'm gonna trim off a little bit because it's kind of close to the edge there. So we'll take our little paper cutter. I'll trim off about 1 centimeter, that looks like. I guess I should put it, I'm trying to keep it in the camera view, but I need to cut it straight, so I'll put it, I'll see if I can move this where you can see it, but I'm just going to cut about 1 centimeter off there. And now it should fit nicely on that page, and I will glue that in, and that'll give us a pocket for February. So I'm doing this kind of assembly line style right now because I'm not completely sure what all my plans are for each month, but you could finish one month before you moved on to the next if you wanted to. So I'm just going to glue this pocket in there. Okay, there's February. We'll let that dry a little bit before we go back to February. So then March on the second page, that's a pretty plain color there. Let's see what's in our scraps. I'm thinking it might be a good one for a belly band though, but ooh, look at that. This texture, a lot of times you find some really neat papers because these scraps come from cut up scrapbook paper, so we have lots of these. We'll have to use that somewhere, but that's not what I had in mind. Oh, there's a ton of that. Oh boy, okay. Tons and tons of that. And we also have some black with glitter on them. Let's do a belly band instead. I think this paper can hold up to it. This is just thick parchment paper that you can buy it in the stationery section of any store. And a belly band is a little band that you glue on each end in the middle of a page, and you can slide stuff underneath it. So I kind of like that blue, well, but it doesn't completely match our flower or our diamond painting that's on the front. Let me look through here. This is the part I was afraid of. The picking and choosing can sometimes take a little bit longer. So, but I want some sort of color on this. What do you think of that? Looks cool. So, yeah, that looks like maybe an 1.25 to 1.5 inches, because this is the part I was after, but we can do more with the other piece later. So, oh yeah, there's enough variety in this one. And then I can kind of measure just by eyeballing here and fold it where the bottom of our belly band needs to be. And use my scissors, which I'm sure I have long buried. We'll just do it this way then. And we'll cut across like that. And now we have a belly band. So you aim it for the middle of the page here. And you just put glue on the top and the bottom. Just across each end there. Not too much. Although you have a little more wiggle room with these than you do with a pocket. So I'm going to try to sort of center that, but again, it's just eyeballing. It doesn't have to be exact. There. And now that makes a pocket that you slide things underneath, because it's only secure at the top and the bottom. And then I think we got one more month here that we can do, and that is this vellum, which makes it interesting. So on this one, the vellum wasn't at the very end, but that's okay. That's a pretty big pocket. Let me make that a little bit smaller. I think that'll work. So that's 4 months that we kind of have set up here, January through April. So now we'll go back and do some more decorating on them. So first we'll finish this last pocket. There we go. Now each month has a pocket to put things in. And as that dries, we'll go back to our January here, and we can put one of each of these in each month. There's 1, 2, 3, and I know that pocket's just a little damp still, so I'll just barely set them in there. Okay. So there we have some useful items in there. Then we'll save the diamond painting project thing to a little bit later. All right, so again, we are doing a giveaway for this journal. So if you made it to the end of this video, the key word that we are looking for is planning. So put the word planning somewhere in a comment below this video, or part 1 or part 3. I'm going to create a spreadsheet of all the entries that are valid, only 1 entry per person, however, and we'll do more in part 3. So thank you for watching.